lighting. Magic of modern technology. Well, now. My time of day is. Good morning. As they say on the other side of the world, no worries. Well, I've long since learned that it's not what happens to you that matters, it's your human response. We're all going to have difficulties in our lives, highs and lows, and it's how we overcome them that matters. I believe it was Julian of Norwich said, who is a woman, of course, in the sort of 1600s in England, Norfolk, Norwich. All shall be well, and all manner of things shall be well. I much prefer that rendition, actually. The Australian one is a bit sort of, nah. Well, we've all got our crosses to bear, our troubles. Christ absolutely is our salvation. Come unto me, all ye who are weary and heavy laden, and I will give unto you rest. Amen. Well, with that love within you, someone's just fired off on my last film. I mentioned 1,000 years, which is in Revelation, and that Christ will come again. And then there'll be 1,000 years, and then there'll be more stuff happening. Well, I don't know. Let God guide me in this. It's beyond me, it really is. I am aware of this. I think there's 7,000 years since the beginning, which I think goes back to the Jewish New Year. So I think Jewish New Year was 5,000, late 5,000s, I think. I don't think we've hit 6,000 yet. Pretty sure we haven't. And 1,000 years is meant to be a day in the sight of God. Well, how about 1,000 million years? So I am quite happy to be led by God in these matters, and I'm also absolutely sure that as and when God will show me the way. I don't need to, at that level, intervene with my human sort of reasoning about matters. Yes, on a practical day-to-day matter, if it's raining, you can stand under a nice leafy tree if it's summer in England. You put the covers on if you're trying to play cricket, because otherwise the pitch will be all greasy and the bowling will be naff. Fine, and at the moment this vaccine is in the air, and whether you're taking it or not, and whether you can get it or not. Actually, again, Australia apparently has just been denied a whole batch from Italy, and the idea is obviously that it's a pandemic, so until the whole world is involved in its conquering it, if you like, then it's still going to pop up elsewhere, and I think it mutates more effectively if you don't zap it fully, if you don't sort of get all of the cases, and then they go off, and then they're sort of better at mutating into something else which might avoid the latest vaccine, and then you've got to find the latest variant and tweak your vaccine, etc., etc. It's sort of cat and mouse, I think, as far as I can work it out. It's all happened in sort of biological time very rapidly. The whole world being closed down within a year, finding a vaccine or vaccines also within that time period, and so on. I gather it's normally something like 5 to 10 years before you get a vaccine, but the pressure is on now. I've got the economy, and on it goes. Well, serious stuff. I accept that. I'm in the very fortunate position at present of having my own sort of little material comfort. My work, which in part is this, I don't have to interact with anyone directly, so I'm isolated in that respect. I mean, nursing staff in a care home or in a A&E casualty department and so on. I mean, you've got, or police actually is the other one, isn't it? They're not getting priority treatment. If you're arresting someone, you can't exactly keep 2 yards of distance, can you? So all that's going on, and I'm in the sort of rather privileged position of being able to really just watch it. I don't have a television. I do have a radio, and Radio 4 News, I think, all the various other programs too, give you quite a good view of these matters, world matters. Burma seems to, Myanmar, in an awful state. People are just desperate. They do not want that military to be back in charge, and they're prepared to die for it. Young people. Some young woman, a 19-year-old, was just shot in the head, point blank range. Ooh. So the beastly old world is up to its usual beastly ways. Ultimately, as with the first martyr, Stephen, for instance, he knew they were going to martyr him. I mean, there were many Christians, I believe, martyred in the early years. But with this love within you, you brush it aside somehow. Your spirit is clear. If you've done your best and you leave the rest to God, then all shall be well, and all manner of things shall be well. Amen. I just wanted to return to the 1,000-year thing. That Christ is living now. Well, yes, in a sense, I feel Christ living within me, but it's not the same as the second coming. Christ hasn't come the second time. This fellow who commented on my film, I think, was saying that he had. I don't get that, I'm sorry. That's not the way I see it. Yes, in the sense that, I mean, in a more down-to-earth sense, but also very spiritual, I love St. Francis, the spirit of St. Francis of Assisi. Well, that human being spirit, I've known about him all my life, and in many ways would try to emulate his beauty of spirit. So in that sense, he's living in your family, my parents. I've got pictures here of my mother my grandmother, my great-grandmother, and so on. In a sense, they're all living within you. You remember things, so there's that sort of direct living memory. Anyway, at a certain level, it definitely is a question of let God manage these things. I see this global pandemic caused by a coronavirus very much as God intervening in the whole of mankind's doings and giving us a warning, as it were, of how little we are. And unless we come to God in true humility, which we won't, then there will be more, much worse trouble. But that still does not shake my faith. And my faith says, I love God through Christ. God is the boss. Like a child, I close my eyes and I hold my hand up to God. Let God guide me. And I'm not stupid. Well, I mean, in that sense, I am going in blind faith. What do I know? What's ahead of us? What did any of the whole world know just a year ago? That the whole world would be turned on its head, just like that. Oof. So anyone who tells me that they've got all the answers, quite frankly, they're just arrogant and stupid, quite frankly. I know that God is the boss. That is a blessing. All shall be well. Ramble. I do seem to prefer this time of day. The world's all sleeping around me, and obviously I'm not going to have to go out anywhere and do anything particularly outside. I've got a lovely, nice, warm place. I've got a lovely big pot of sort of hoosh stew on the stove. So, lucky old me, count my blessings, all shall be well, and all manner of things shall be well.